PHI 102. Study Session 8. Definition types and their uses. Introduction. In this study session, you will explore the various types of definitions. You will also learn about the uses of definitions. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to distinguish between the terms definiendum and definians. You should also explain at least 4 types of definition. And lastly, highlight the purposes of a definition. Terminology. Definiendum, the object or symbol being defined. Definians, the symbol or group of symbols that has the same meaning as the definiendum or used to explain or describe the meaning of the definiendum. Types of definition. Stipulative definitions. Stipulative definitions are sometimes referred to as nominal or verbal definitions. A stipulative definition is that which has a meaning that is deliberately assigned to some symbol. It follows, therefore, that anyone who introduces a new symbol is free to assign or stipulate whatever meaning he cares to. Even an old term in a new context may also have its present meaning stipulated. Copy et al. 2006, page 436. It is important to note that terms are introduced by stipulation for the following reasons. 1. Convenience. Stipulation helps to reduce the use of many words in conveying a message because a single word may stand for many words in a message. 2. Secrecy. Some words or terms may not be understood or used by the general public, since only the sender and receiver of the message, that is, those who are socialized in the same system, can understand the stipulation. 3. Economy of expression. Through stipulation, a long sequence of familiar words that would be cumbersome to write are replaced by new symbols, thereby saving time and increasing intelligibility. For example, the number equal to 1 billion trillions is called zeta. Copy et al. 2006, page 437. 4. To facilitate discussion. New terms are sometimes introduced to facilitate discussion. The origin of the term pragmatism, which has no dictionary meaning before its coinage, will serve a good example here. Charles Sanders Peirce was a founding member of the pragmatic movement and is said to have introduced the term pragmatism. Peirce's pragmatism did not receive much attention until William James, a member of this movement, popularized it into a series of study sessions by adding the practical and humanist perspectives. But Peirce felt that James had distorted his thought by adding new perspectives. Consequently, Peirce abandoned the term pragmatism and coined the term pragmatism to describe his own position, saying that this new term is ugly enough to be safe from kidnappers. Lawhead 2002, page 467. One important thing to note about a stipulative definition is that it is neither true nor false. It cannot be said to be accurate or inaccurate. Simply because a symbol defined by a stipulative definition did not have that meaning before it was given that meaning by the definition. So the definition cannot be a report of the term's meaning. Copy et al. 2006, 437. From the foregoing, therefore, a stipulative definition can best be regarded as a proposal or a resolution or a request or an instruction to use the definiendum to mean what is meant by the definians. Lexical definitions. A lexical definition is that whose purpose is to explain the use of a definition or to eliminate ambiguity. Another way to put it is that a lexical definition reports a meaning the definition already has. Copy et al. 2006, page 437. In other words, one can qualify lexical definitions as dictionary meanings. Unlike stipulative definitions, a lexical definition may either be true or false. For instance, the definition the word bird may mean any warm-blooded vertebrate with feathers is true because it is correct report of how the word bird is generally used by speakers of English. The definition is false if we consider the word bird means a two-footed mammal. Copy et al. 2006, page 438. This brings out the major differences between lexical and stipulative definitions. While truth or falsity may apply to lexical definitions, stipulative definitions are neither true nor false. Precising definitions. By precising definitions, we mean definitions that are used to eliminate ambiguity or vagueness. In most human conversations, there are some terms that are ambiguous or vague. What does it mean for a term to be ambiguous? A term is ambiguous when it has more than one distinct meaning. It is vague when there are borderline cases to which the term might or might not apply. Now, let us look at some examples. 1. Persons with disabilities are not expected at the stadium for gymnastics. 2. The chairman will hold a meeting with all the adults in the community. In example 1, the term disabilities in the sentence is vague, since we are not sure whether albinos, those who use glasses, and so on, can be subsumed under the term. The term adults in example 2 also faces the same problem. At what age do we refer to someone as adults? A precising definition differs from stipulative definitions, in that its definition is not a new term, but one whose usage is known, although unhappily vague. Copy et al. 2006, page 440. It also differs from lexical definitions because, in resolving borderline cases, a precising definition goes beyond the report of normal usage with the definition given. Theoretical definitions. This type of definition applies to the formulation of an idea or belief about something arrived at through speculation or conjecture. Thus, a theoretical definition of a term attempts to formulate a theoretically adequate or scientifically useful description of the objects to which the term applies. Copy et al. 2006, page 442. Theoretical definitions aim for theoretical truth, and that is why scientists or philosophers criticize one another's definition in order to establish which of the various definitions at issue context is most satisfactory. It must be stated that a theoretical definition of a term is not the final word. In other words, as the knowledge about some subject matter increases, one theoretical definition may be replaced by another. For instance, Socrates contested the theoretical definition of the term justice offered by Thrasymachus, who in Plato's Republic defined justice as the interest of the stronger. Today, we have different theoretical definitions of justice, implying that the theoretical definition often change with increase in knowledge about some subject matters. Persuasive definitions. A persuasive definition is a type of definition that is intended to influence attitude and stir emotions. Thus, its concerns is different from the four previous definitions, whose main concern has to do with the informative use of language. Persuasive definitions are commonly used in the fields of politics, religion, advertisements, and even law. UFO 2012, page 59. For instance, politicians often use emotive language, especially during campaigns, with a view to stirring the emotions of their listeners. We are warned, however, to be on the guard against persuasive definitions, because Emotive coloration may be injected subtly into the wording that purports to be a correct lexical definition and appears on the surface to be that. Copy et al. 2006, page 443. Ostensive definitions. When a term is difficult to define verbally, speakers often resort to the use of ostensive definitions. An ostensive definition conveys the meaning of a term by pointing out instances of the term, either because the term will not be understood, either with children and new speakers of language, or because of the nature of the term, such as colors or sensations. It also refers to as definition by pointing, because it is usually accompanied with gestures. For example, when defining red by pointing out red objects like roses, the use of extensive definition is involved. It must be added that extensive definition assumes the questionnaire has sufficient understanding to recognize the type of information being given. Thus, Ludwig Wittgenstein asserts that ostensive definition explains the meaning of the word when the overall role of the word in language is clear. Purposes of definitions. Definitions of terms are sought for many reasons or purposes. The purposes of definitions can be appreciated by looking at the various definitions that we have discussed in this study session. In our discussion of stipulative definitions, for instance, we can draw such purposes as convenience, secrecy, economy of expression, and even increase in vocabulary. Lexical definitions mainly help to increase our vocabulary, while precising definitions serve the purposes of eliminating ambiguity, reducing vagueness, and helping to resolve our differences. In theoretical definitions, we learn to explain theoretically by giving a theoretically adequate categorization of the object being defined, while persuasive definitions are mostly employed to influence attitudes by eliciting positive or negative feelings in the minds of our hearers. Ufo, 2012, page 61. And ostensive definition is employed when it is difficult to define a term verbally. Study session summary. In this study session, we started by looking at the two commonly used technical terms about definition, definiendum and definiens. We went to discuss 6 types of definition and their purposes. End of study session 8. Thank you for listening.